Welcome to the AACE Australian Section webinar series for 2026. This webinar is on leveraging data science Python use to automate and enhance project control workflows and is presented by Erick Flores.
Welcome everybody. Apologies for the delay. Welcome to this month's AAC webinar where we've got Erick Flores presenting for us leveraging data science Python use to automate and enhance project controls workflows. Erick, I'll hand over to you.
Okay, thanks, Cam. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Let me know when you can see it.
Yep, it's popped up on mine.
Okay, I'm going into presentation mode. Taking. Okay, there we go. So good night, everyone. My name is Erick Flores. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I've been using, the usage of Python to automate some workflows in a project control environment. Just a little bit of my background. I got a bachelor and master degree in civil engineering. I got some data studies, specifically Python, SQL, machine learning, and lately vibe coding. I will talk a little bit more about this at the end of the presentation. I got experience using error value management and data architecture management. I got certified cost professional in 2023 and member of AAC since 2021. Okay, let's dive in. So the agenda for today, I want to, for you who haven't been using, just a really short explanation what Python it is, and as well a little bit of earn value. So to explain, to share you how do I understand the workflow of this tool, I'm going to share with you two use case implementations, some lessons learned. What I'm exploring right now after I start using Python and a little bit more of coding into a project control environment. Some limitations, what to do tomorrow as a challenge for all the attendees, and questions and answers. My goal for today is to bring you awareness and context to demonstrate some cases to lower the barrier to entry into this tool, to inspire some action and provide resources. So I'm going to take this 2-3 minutes to explain you what for me is earn value. For me, earn value is the integration of different of information from different sources, which could start at the budget or an estimate, and then we got cost information. I go ahead. We got cost information, and then we got dates from a program, could be P6 or whatever tool you're using. And then we got quantities for site engineers or site people or contractors. If we are a client, we just got quantities as reports. Then we got all those information from all these different sources. We integrate them, and then we calculate this in the metrics of earn value. This could be performed in an Excel, could be performed in Power BI. You integrate Excels into the model, or you could have a software in your companies where you perform this model. At the end, it's just a database. That's it with the earn value. No more about that. And then now let me explain you what Python is. Python is a high-level coding language. And what high level means is that the syntax in the way it's written is quite intuitive. For that, I take this screenshot from this YouTube channel. You want to know more about data? This guy explained really well with graphics and this stuff. Is more familiar and not straight away into the coding. So natural language is the way we speak. Like, hey, please, can you calculate 5 plus 5? So it's what we understand if we're speaking English, or Spanish or Hindi. So it's the way we speak. Machine language is the way the computer understands whatever we're doing right now when we use the computer, which is mainly 1 and 0s. So we can read that language, humans. And there is other coding languages which are more hard to understand for all. But as you're gonna see in this some snapshot that I take it, the way Python is written, you kind of intuitively understand what the code is aiming to do. Then if you've been working with a lot of Excel, you maybe have been working with pivot tables. And pivot tables are a powerful tool of Excel. And in Python, we need to install something called libraries. The libraries enable us to perform advanced calculations. I took this screenshot from this other YouTube channel called Miss Rator, and she really explained from the scratch what are the advantages or the beginner step when using Python. And a data frame is in a way a pivot table, but with some stronger capabilities. I just put this screenshot what is a transformation from a pivot, and then yeah, the syntax here is like, as I say, intuitive. You indicate what you're looking for, the columns and the values you're looking for. Okay, that's it. That's it, the foundation we need for today's workshop. What error value management means for us. We're gonna dive a little bit more on the AAC terminology and how can we use that, and what Python is as a, just in a nutshell. So the case study one is how I was using or I'm using Python and GenAI, generative AI, to integrate the connection between CBS and BWS, which is the control account system, and the way we split the packages, the construction, which is going to come from P6 in my case. And the case study number 2 is how can we use Python to foster label categorization in a database. So if you got the opportunity to work in an enterprise level, you might have the chance to work with many projects, let's say 20, 40 projects, even though historical projects. And we were working, we'll talk about that later when I go to that. I am presenting you here this workflow where I was integrating the CBS and the BWS. But it was hard to navigate into the spreadsheet that I got from P6 because the project I was working on is like 6,000 road activities. And so I need an easiest way to manipulate the data, an easiest way to find correlations between my activities in P6 with the control accounts. So I can get the dates from P6 to my control accounts activities. So what I did here, I got the P6 export, then I got the control accounts with comes from accounting system, but I got in Excel. Then here is the step where I use Python to generate a BWS column generation. So you will see later, but what I ultimately did is like an easiest way to navigate the information of P6, so I can straightforward concatenate or correlate the activities of P6 with control accounts. And I put GenAI here because initially I tried to do this whole process with purely Python. I wasn't able to do it yet. Then I tried to do the whole process with GenAI, but the problem is if you dump 6,000 P6 activities and I don't know 200 codes into a GenAI like Copilot, the model is not gonna be able to handle this huge massive of information, and it's gonna make a lot of mistake. But if you pre-correlate, I don't know, 200 activities to 10 codes, and then you dump this information into Copilot or ChatGPT, whatever, the model is powerful enough to help us to correlate between synonyms or maybe some way of description that the planners put into P6, which is different from the description maybe the accountants put into the CBS. Well, here for a disclaimer, when I started calculating R value like 8 years ago, initially I thought the best tool to do it was through P6, and maybe some of you might be doing like that way, which is totally fine. If that works for any of you, that's fine. But personally, I found this like not the best. Like it's not providing the right output because we got in P6 too many times activities of 1, 2 days, 5 days duration. So it requires a lot of artifacts to calculate or translate the codes into the P6. I found more useful or reliable to extract the dates from P6 and put those dates into an R value system. Just that. It's my personal opinion. We can discuss about how you want to. So let me bring it up. I'm bringing a different screen. Cameron, can you confirm is this a different screen?
Yep, I can see your CBS to WBS
Yeah,
breaking
got
down.
it.
And yep.
Yeah, so I'm putting here, for example, what I'm looking to do it. This is HTML. Don't care about this. So it's in the left we got the BWS, the breakdown, as you might know, is like project management, design, construction, and then you might have sections of all of the construction, and then you might have components such as drainage, civil, landscaping, whatever. And then really down the road, like maybe after 6 to 7 levels, you found the activity. And what do we have in the right? We have the CBS, the the cost breakdown structure. And then we got maybe a group of civil works, and then we got a control accounts of airworks and general civil works. So what we want to do, we want to correlate these activities of airworks to these activities of airworks. Of course, it's more easy to see in this graphical way, but if we dive into a 6,000 road activities of export of PCIPs, it might be get like confused, time-consuming, hard to read. That's the way I frame it. That's what we want to do it. This is the final objective. Okay, I'm gonna come back to the presentation. So what I did, this is the Python script, and I can share with you. It's in my GitHub, open for anyone to download. What I did, I asked Python first. I import some libraries. That's why I explain you what this top part means. Like it's a feature of Python. Like you can import different libraries. In this case, pandas is the library that enables us to manipulate tables. And then matplotlib is to create graph. And openpxl is to generate Excel files. So what I do here is I enable this reading the Excel file from a specific location. I read the Excel file export of P6, and then I have an algorithm here that I'm not going too detailed into this because it might get confusing. But what I'm doing, I am asking him to split all the column BWS that we got in P6 into a list of columns that I'm going to show you now the output of this. So this is how it look like. That's the activity name, and then all the BWS as different columns. You might think this is too simple, but the power to manipulate the data in this way was so helpful that I was doing this process of correlating P6 to CVS in the past with a project, and it took me like 4 to 6 weeks doing without this Python script. And then after I generate this, I could do this correlation within maybe 1 week. So Python accelerate one step of the process, but not the whole cycle. We still need to do some manual or personal engineering analysis to identify which is the correct link. So what I mean by that, I'm gonna bring it up. The Excel. And then I'm gonna filter out this activity. As you can see, this activity of the CVS is correlated to different elements that are separate. If we do manually with 6,000 or 7,000, whatever, this gets really complicated. It's a long process and time consuming. But once we have this, we can easily get a pivot table. And then I told you, pivot tables of Excel are really handy. And then just get a minimum of maximum dates. And then with that information, we just populate into our earn value control accounts, and then we got a start and end day. So that was the outcome of this first case study. It's not the whole process, as I'm saying, it's to accelerate parts that otherwise will take so long manually. You could, of course, doing this like defining UDF in P6, like manually typing this EVM link. But again, it's for me, I think so navigating into a P6 file for reading information, not to generate. It takes a lot of time. And this will be the outcome. Yeah, you got a PMB. You got a PMB that integrates data from calls, a schedule, and in the future, it will help you to run R value to get R value, CPI, SPI, and all your metrics. So that's it. That's the first use case. Let's go jump into the second one. What is the second one about? As I was saying, when I got the opportunity to work in the enterprise level and we were doing analysis of a huge data set of projects, let's say 20 projects. And then we want to standardize the way we capture the data so we can build some statistical models for upcoming projects or upcoming control accounts based on past performance. I put this quotation here because I found really insightful. Some people got really scared when AI came along and these all powerful things that we discovered with Gen AI. But yeah, ultimately, Gen AI is not thinking. It's mostly like compiling a huge amount of data and providing us really powerful resources. Yep, I go ahead. And for that, let me bring up what is the importance of having cost centers or control accounts. Cost centers or code of accounts is the way the term exists in WACE, which are standard ways to capture costs and progress. That's the simple. So we can start building a database. And what is the importance of having a database in our company? So we can transfer knowledge along. If something happens if something happens in too many projects that are type like road and bridge or on tunneling, if we're expert on doing tunneling, and then we identify that in all our tunneling projects, all the electrical components is underperforming, so we can improve the estimate for a future project, or we can settle some contingencies or allowances. Yep. Yeah, as I say, code of accounts is the backbone to building this database. But I would like to add another concept. The database construction in AAC, I found it quite technical. It's really good, but kind of hard to read the first time we tried to deep dive into it. For that, I found this concept called reference class forecasting, which was written by I don't got the name here, but it's in the book How Big Things Get Done. And it aims for the same goal, to build a historical database performance of past projects so you can better estimate the future, or what do you need, how much money you will need to finalize to complete a scope of work. You want to have a deep review, I got here this paper of these two authors, which explain like for these different components of a project, how was the performance in cost and time. I wouldn't say you can use the same data because this is in Europe, these different scenarios, different companies have different situations, but it's good to understand the foundations. So the challenge here is that we got a standard, nice cost code or code of accounts table. Like for example, this is our code for concrete slab 3006. And this is the code the project should be using. But what happens in reality is because of site conditions, because of the client demands, or because of big scope, the project ending using some description like this one. Project 01, AA, 3005, 01, XYR, 09, structures, road, bridge, approach slab. Because it's useful for the project. But this is messy if we want to integrate data across different projects. So we need to standardize the data. That's the term. We need to standardize this information. I was doing this for a while. And let's say I did this for 10 projects. After 10 projects, I thought for the upcoming, for the future, how do I find a way that based on the past table categorization, I can build a model that categorize upcoming new projects, control accounts of these projects, so I don't waste that much time doing manually. And yeah, I found a way. It's of course the model will make mistakes, but that's what we are there for, to review the process. Okay, and also let me tell you this: the Python script that I showed you previously, it runs in fraction of seconds. Like it's really quick, but the whole cycle of the process, it doesn't reduce that much. So when GenAI or Python or data tools optimize our performance, that's true, 100%. But it doesn't reduce the whole cycle. It just reduces the automate part, so we have more time to do more cognitive analysis on the final outcome, or what are we producing. So this is the script. Should be in the opposite way. Anyway, and yeah, and this is run through 3 steps. The first step is to use a mathematical concept called cosine similarity. Don't get scared. It's just an algorithm that you can implement in Python. You can see here. So this is the library, as I told you first. Libraries are powerful tools. And I bring this algorithm, cosine similarity. And the concept of cosine similarity is to find how similar are two text sentences. Okay. So that's the concept. So if we go like, as I said previously, this long text and in some part say concrete slab, and then we got another control account with a different or synonyms, maybe not concrete slab, maybe slab concrete on the ground, something like that. And then we identify we're trying to identify similar patterns in the whole database. And cosine similarity runs in 2 steps. First, it breaks down the whole sentences into chunks, and then use similarity of these sentences. Further. Can I come back? Yep. So I'm briefly trying to explain the script. Don't try to, if you have no experience with Python, don't try to understand right now. That's not the purpose of the meeting. It's more to build some awareness, as I'm saying. I'm just trying to explain conceptually. So first, that's why I put this hashtag. It's to load the data. Then I was working with a SQL database to load the SQL information. And then I ran the TF-IDF algorithm, and then I ran the cosine similarity. And then as you can see here, there's the match category with the category. So I'm looking for a similar category on the data set that I'm working with. 2 additional steps that I found out with this process is that you can test, you can test how accurate is the model. So the model will assign these labels, and then you can also ask the model how accurate were you when you were running. So you can improve, you can check it out how good is your categorization. In this case, I got the first time I run it, I got accuracy of 0.87, which is pretty good. And then you have to do the manual revision. With this machine learning or Gen AI, the thing is, if they build it, we're still responsible for whatever they are giving to us. So we still have to do that cognitive revision. This is the final thing of this step. So we can improve the model through using some machine learning. In this case, I use this logistic regression, and this another algorithm. Don't scare by the terms. They are just way to name the way the machine is thinking. And this way, it's logistic regression. If you remember statistics or math from high school or university, you have done like linear regression, which is just trying to draw a line between 2 variables. Logistic regression, it only tries to identify whether or not the outcome is 1 or 0. So that's why it's only have 2 values. That's why it's called logistic. Yeah, so finally we will have something like that, yeah? A long test, and the category will be categorized as this environmental and sustainability. But this also has environment management, but maybe it's another control account, which is noise and vibration control account. So that's the final outcome, to categorize long sentences that might be outcome of different projects into a standard short control account that we can later use to perform the historical performance of the enterprise, the company. So two final things here. As I say, it's good to understand what relational database are. If you have some experience with Power BI, you might be working with this the modeling team, which is good. But going a little bit further is to go to understand what SQL and relational database means. I'm putting here a screenshot, which is just to understand that Primavera P6 or any earned value management system in the backend at the back of the software are just tables. P6 is a table of BWBS, a table of calendar, a table of activity IDs, and all of them are connected through some keys. And also, when I was doing this label categorization, I got to try to use Python script inside of Power BI instead of reading information from a SharePoint or from an Excel file. So I paste a whole script of Python that gives me as an output a data frame, which is a table ultimately. And if you've been working with Power BI and you got like, I don't know, 10 steps here, doing in this way, it saves a lot of time. Okay, so I got here an anonymized outcome of the process I was doing before. Of course, this is not the real data, but it's similar to this. So we got like different project types and what was the percentage, the average expense in construction, design, overhead, or staff. So we can see how is the average expense of this particular component. Of course, when you got a database of, I don't know, 10,000 different control accounts across different 20 or 40 projects, whatever, you can drag some, what is the average cost? What is the average budget? What was the average under or overrun of this particular control account? Yeah, but you can build these metrics calculations are easy. It's just the average. The hard part is to build the label categorization to have all the control account in a standard way. If you got the information really clean, you can build amazing things. But the first thing is to improve the categorization. And that's what I use Python for. We got a little bit of time. So yeah, I will go ahead with what I'm doing now. So I found Python so intuitive, amazing, that I keep exploring further. And I start asking myself, what can I do? We got softwares in all of our companies that we're working on, or maybe you are just using Excel, which is totally fine. Depends on the scale of the project you're working on. But sometimes we might face, and maybe that's the reason many of you are here, you're asking yourself, how can I do this step? Like, how can I customize some part of my workflow so I can leverage what I'm doing and spend more time analyzing the data rather than doing some manual typing or how I can improve this. That's why I started learning a little bit of what is called byte coding, which means you don't need to learn how to code. Well, you need to learn the foundations, but you don't need to code all your outcome. You just need to prompt. If you got some experience with Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, DeepSeek, any of them, you might start getting better the way you prompt. The way you prompt, asking what is your profession, what are you looking for? So when you get better at prompt, you might be able to use byte coding. And if you haven't been using, let me bring it up. So don't get scared for the amount of code here. So this is Visual Studio. It's a way to write Python code. This is anti-gravity. This is another way to write code. This is a Python code I was explaining. This is the BWBS splitting. Yeah. And then we got in the left side what is called an agent. And then we don't code, we type and we ask to the agent what do we want to? And that's how I got to start doing bytecoding. So I built this app or project. It's an experimental project so far for now. But believe it or not, I built this. This has 9 different applications right now. I built this PMB, performance measuring baseline construction, in one afternoon. So I was free during the Saturday. I got like 2-3 hours, and I start prompting to the agent. And of course, it makes mistakes. It is not perfect the first time you start writing, but you get to see amazing things, how it can just provide you or give you these outcomes. I'm gonna bring it up now so you can see a little bit of this. So this is the app I built it. It's currently, it's not online, of course, it's in my local computer, but I can bring it up, like start building, going here and analyzing the histogram of this project. Or if I want to start running air value management, I can start doing that. And then sometimes I find out that in the performances of doing this in some specific software, we don't have the capability to have multiple baselines. So I asked my agent, oh, can you build a way that I can have many baselines, more than one? And it's possible here. So I started doing that way. Or what about if I want to see the history of the different periods? So the possibilities are unlimited. We can build too many things with this. Yeah. Also, if you are an AAC member for a while, you might come across that AAC mentions that we got 5 different classes of estimation. But to be honest, I never worked in a company where we did like, or maybe in the client side, I don't know. We're gonna do a class 3 or class 4 estimation. So the first time I read it, I like it, but I never see on practice, not even do it in an Excel. And I could do it in an Excel, but I want to build something that has some legacy that I could see from the future to now and see what I was doing in the past. So I built my own estimate app, and then I was like adjusting to have the same features as any estimate software, bill of quantities, takeoff, yeah, anything that you mentioned, but also to enable me to maybe to build a model that how can I run a class 4 estimation, and maybe it's going to be really simple because the math is not complicated. Yeah, it's just by unit rates. But at least I got some like experience, hands-on practice of this theory, and that was what I was looking into. Okay, that's it with all the what I'm exploring about doing byte coding. Some limitations and lessons learned. Earned value cannot be run by a single department. It's an integration process. Innovation will always face resistance from legacy procedures. I have seen that, I experiment, but you get to experiment a lot in the process. What I present to you in the two case scenarios, I have used that in my real project. Of course, it doesn't become a standard to use Python because it might seem scary. But after I present some Python in the past, previous manager told me that she got inspired and she started exploring, which is good. It's what I am trying to promote here. And there is a myth that coding nowadays requires a completely different skill. Ultimately, coding, we're looking to solve problems. That's the way I see it. So if you have the mindset to trying to solving problems, you got more of what you think you need to have before start writing some Python or whatever you're looking to. The Python barriers to entry is really low. It's not that hard. And let me bring you some challenge at the end of the presentation. A really good step is document your progress. Never got too excited because it happens many times. whatever you're doing, try to document. And I found out quite useful to do some diagrams as I present to you. Sometimes a spreadsheet is still the right answer. Not because you don't need to use Python all the time. Sometimes a pivot tables do the job quickly, in 1 second. There's some mic open. Now let me bring it at this. I got a YouTube channel you can follow. It's The Skeptical Engineer. So I post there information about earned value, physics, book reviews, data science. So if you're curious to know more about that, feel free to look about that. It's called The Skeptical Engineer because my goal is to feel skeptical about what people have been doing and about any trends in the future. If you say Gen AI can build a schedule, I want to test that idea and see how far it really can go, what AI can do and what it cannot. Some further reading and some ideas for prompting. If you have no experience, don't feel scary, start doing right now. You can say, I got this basic, intermediate, advanced knowledge of Python. I got no knowledge, but I'm familiar with pivot tables. I told you that pivot tables is a good start. Think as a cost controller, a planner, an estimator, a project manager, whoever. Explain to me the purpose of this script, the script I was sharing with you, that is in my GitHub. And you can ask for being minimalist, don't give me too much text. Yeah, there are some samples, maybe you're taking pictures. No? And let me break it up, these 3 books that I read last 6 months. First is about the data. We are working in a data environment. We're capturing data a lot, but this book brings us down to realize that we don't need every piece of information. There are too much hype around that the most data we capture, the better, which is not accurate all the times. This book is a novel about history in the IT world. It wouldn't be harder for you to read because it's a novel. Like it's a problem happening, and you might find related with many things that are happening in this book. Some people asking for tasks to be done on time. Some people are demanding for more resources, demanding for more time. Yeah, it was really easy to read. The language is easy to read. It's just a novel about in the IT, and basically it talks about the theory of constraints and how to optimize workflows. That happens to all of us. We got many constraints inside conditions, and we're always looking to see how can we optimize the workflow of production. And finally, this is the book that I just finished like recently, By Coding. And no one of these books has any single code line because more than trying to type or learning how to write code, it's about to understand the foundations and to understand that Gen AI has come and it has an explosion of all these powerful skills. So how can we get the most of these tools? That's what it is about this book, and I use the concepts to build the app that I present to you, the project. These are 3 challenges for you. What to do tomorrow? If you have no Python or SQL experience, install Python. It takes 10 minutes. Run your first data frame on a real project Excel. That's it. 1 script, no more than that. If you got some Python experience, stop and ask 2 questions before writing any other line of code. I'm solving the real problem. If you already have using Python, you have some AI tools regularly, go back to basics. Ask yourself, is my earned value integration actually solving a problem, or I'm just building over something that is wrong from the start? So that's it from me.
Thanks for that, Eric. If anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask away, or if you're not confident in unmuting and asking, you can put your question into the chat, and we'll do our best to answer it. But I might add my 5 cents worth. At the moment, I find when using AI to help solve problems, because I use VBA in our system because we're not allowed to have Python loaded in our work environment. I tend to look at AI as if it's a first-year graduate. They've got a lot of technical knowledge but don't know how to apply it. So you need to be able to explain to the AI exactly what you are after. And most AI systems, you can have 10,000 characters or so in the prompt. So you can put a lot of detail into what you are asking of it. But I would suggest start small. If you're just getting into using AI to assist with solving problems, you want to be able to verify the response. So start with something that you know and start small so that you can verify it, and then start extending out and trying harder problems to get assistance with. Just to build your confidence and to work out how the AI model that you're using responds. Otherwise, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble and get a lot of rubbish out of the AI. It does have a nasty habit of hallucinating sometimes. I find I use Notebook LM in combination with Gemini. Notebook LM limits what the AI can actually refer to. So I load up, say, the recommended practices into a notebook in Notebook LM, and it can't refer to anything outside of that notebook. So you can narrow down. If you've got good sources, you can ask queries about what are in those sources, and it will not go and look anywhere else unless you explicitly tell it to. And I find that's a good way to start, and then you can start telling it to find sources for yourself, but you need to go and review them before you start using them as part of your AI model to assist you in your work. So if anybody's got anything else they'd like to bring up.
I do have a question. Thank you, Eric, for the presentation. Very, very insightful. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Frank.
All right. Thank you. So I think there's a lot of potential using Python. You clearly showcase a couple of situations where Python can help us. And I'm interested in the first one. Actually, we can go back to the use case one. I like how you use Python to unfold the WBS levels from P6 into columns in Excel so that you can map to control accounts. And the question specifically there is, did you find any case in which you had one WBS mapping to two separate control accounts rather than one? Because in the example you presented, it's like you go WBS by WBS, assume that there's only one code account associated to that. But sometimes, I'm not sure, maybe it didn't happen to you, but sometimes you may find one WBS associated to two control accounts. How do you solve that if you face that, Eric?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that happens more often than you think. The example I showed you was a simplified project of just a reduced budget, but in reality, I got that often. I try to avoid it, but yeah, sometimes just happens to be that the way the WBS was built, it's for somehow across to CBS. Yeah, and the way we just paste the two codes. And to be clear here, I'm not correlating straight with the control account level, because we got a detail level down, which is control account activity, you want to call it that way, or cost activity. So for example, if you got errors and then you go maybe massive errors, so you got two control accounts, let's say, but then you got bullet errors section 1, and then you might have massive bullet errors section 1, 2, 3. That way, the data you're getting from P6 are more accurate. Of course, the expense profile is not going to be perfect. Never. That's not going to happen. We can do that, but it will take too long. In that case, we will just translate the cost into P6, what I previously said, and that's not my goal. So yeah, it happens quite often. we just create more granularity in the cost structure, not going too deep, but deep enough to capture the reality.
Yeah, spot on. Thanks, Eric. The other thing I really love the second use case as well. I think that can save us a lot of time in terms of classifying data, that machine learning case. So I'll reach out to you later, Eric, for asking the script there, if you don't mind.
Yeah. All right. That's all good.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential.
The script isn't one of my YouTube thing in a link.
All right.
But anyway, just be mindful that to build in the script with a big accuracy, I need to build a strong foundation, which took me still like, let's say 1 month. So you still need to do a label categorization manually. I try to just start from scratch, and that's my goal still in the future. How can I set up the model that start building from zero, just using the AI knowledge? But I didn't get the desired results yet. And since I was already mapping, so I got a strong starting point. So I got the solution for my case, but for a new person who is starting from scratch, I don't have the starting point solution yet at this stage.
All right. Thanks, Eric. That's all for me.
All good.
Okay, Carlos, you've had your hand up for a while. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah. Good. Hi, Eric. Very good presentation. Many thanks for that. And also, I have a general question. This is my first contact with Python, so I want to ask you if you know any application for this integration software, specifically for a consulting sector, because I am working or involved in the delay analysis for some expert witness cases. So besides project management and this kind of schedule analysis that you presented, do you know any other application, or what else does it include for this schedule analysis part?
Yeah, the options are limitless. As I said, you can build anything that you imagine, because Python just gives you the foundation, the starting point. If you say something about schedule, I built another script that I didn't present in this time, where I was trying to, you can say it's hard to read the bar charts in P6 if you want to compare and do some delay claim analysis. So what about if you just isolate part of your schedule, of both schedule, isolate them, and then compare them using a Python script, and you set up what is the window that you want to analyze. I did that in another script. You can reach out later and I can share to you. Now, I'm not saying this is the solution for your case, but could be your starting point. So what I did in that case, I have dates from 2 different origins. Yes. Let's say one is P6 and the other was the engineers of the construction. And then I compare the dates going in chunks of control accounts. Let's say every 10 control accounts, I want to compare this. What are the start and end dates? And I found out that sometimes they say the same story, and other time they say completely different stories. So it has possibilities for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Many thanks, Eric.
Okay, does anybody else have any further questions? Doesn't seem like it. So I think we might wrap it up there for tonight. Thank you, Eric. That was an excellent presentation.
Thank you for joining us for this webinar, and thank you to Eric for presenting. If you found this presentation interesting, please like and subscribe to our channel. Please leave a comment if you have any feedback or ideas on topics that you wish to see the AACE Australian section cover in the future.